What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punchboard Party. My name is Daniel and this is Hot Take, where I take a look at 5 hot games trending on Board Game Geek today. This video is coming out a little later than I normally put out my hotness videos because I was preparing all day yesterday for an interview that I think went fairly well this morning. So keep me in mind, pray for me, send good thoughts my way that I get the job. I would really appreciate that. First game on the hotness today on Board Game Geek, coming in at number 1, is a really interesting one. This is Gloomholdin. This is a free print and play game that is available on Board Game Geek. Just go to Board Game Geek, click on the number 1 hotness, and you will be able to find files for this print and play version of Gloomhaven, essentially in a handheld form. So basically what this game is, it's a solo version. I think you can play 2 players as well, but primarily a solo version of Gloomhaven where you hold all of the cards in your hand. It looks like a bit of a balancing act that you have to do to hold some cards sideways and some cards vertically. But basically, all of the battling that you're going to be doing takes place on a single card, and each face of a card has 2 missions, depending on the orientation that you have the card flipped. And so basically you are going to be using your cards to do attack and defense and all the things that you normally would do in Gloomhaven, just on a very micro scale. And so I think it's just a neat thing to highlight, and a lot of people are talking about it. I think a lot of people are trying it out. So please, for my friends who love Gloomhaven, check it out, print and play it. Try out the game and let me know what you think about it. It's free. That's a fun little adventure to go on, seeing if Gloomhaven can actually fit in the palm of your hand. So let me know in the comments down below, do you think this is a cool thing to do? Taking a big box game and turning it into a handheld experience. Let me know your thoughts on Gloomholdin down below. Second game I want to talk about today is coming in at number 2 on the hotness, and this is 6 Siege. So this is a board game based on the popular video game series Rainbow Six, now just 6, with the subheading Siege. And so what this game is a tactical skirmish game, but the cool thing about it is that there's destructible environment that you set up on the board when you set up each scenario that you play. And so you're breaking down doors and busting into rooms and shooting over the furniture and trying to get your man. So each scenario comes with its own book that tells you all the details of the scenario and how you play the game. Every game is going to have attackers and defenders, and so it's primarily 1v1, but you're also going to be able to play 2v2 in this game. And when you're setting up the game, you're customizing your characters that you're going to be playing with and putting out on the board. And so each starting setup is going to be different, even within each different scenario that you'll be playing as you play this game multiple times. This has been very positively reviewed by folks like Board Game Co. and Quackalope, and it is on Kickstarter as of yesterday. So if this looks or sounds like anything remotely interesting to you, I encourage you to check out the Kickstarter page. Okay, so down below, just before we keep going, let me know what your favorite board game that's based on a video game is. I want to find out some recommendations for myself to check out. Alright, so next game coming in at 33 on the hotness. It's been slowly going down the list as the weeks gone by. This is Scarface 1920. This has been out on Kickstarter for a few days. It's been doing really well. It's just sitting at $660,000 right now. So it has a healthy start here. So already with the buzz that this game is getting, if you want to get it and back it, go for it. So initially I'm wondering if this is going to be confusing for people, that they'll be expecting the Al Pacino Scarface, but this is a theme that's centered around Al Capone and other gang members in Chicago around the year, or in the year 1920, all around the Prohibition. So alcohol is banned, and there's a bunch of gangsters who are trying to produce and sell barrels of alcohol, and you got Elliot Ness and his Untouchables coming after them. And so this is a competitive board game which mixes area control, deck building, and worker placement mechanics. We're having a lot of games nowadays that are blending these kind of mechanics, especially worker placement and deck building. At the beginning of this year or end of last year, that was a really new revelation with things like Dune Imperium and Lost Ruins of Arnak. Whoa, those two mechanics together, I never heard of that before. And now it's just becoming a normal mainstay in the hobby, and fairly quickly at that. And so your main concern is going to be controlling territories on a map of Chicago and trying to bring in your cars and your dudes and trying to have the majority there and kick out the rest of the folks. You're going to be moving your goons around the board by playing cards, and your cards are also going to be doing additional abilities, and you're always going to have the opportunity to gain more henchmen or cards into your deck to do cooler things and to do more things in the game. What I'm really excited for about this game is the theme itself. The Untouchables is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Kevin Costner, and I love him as Elliot Ness. And when you look at the little model of Elliot Ness and the art that he's depicted in, it is just like, it cannot not be Kevin Costner from The Untouchables. And so I love that they're just really bringing that theme up and out. And so if there's not going to be an Untouchables board game, at least I could have this on my shelf to echo my love for that movie. So let me know down below, what's your favorite mix of board game mechanics, or what would you like to see in a game? Is it enough to have worker placement, deck building, and area control all mixed together in one game, or do you want to see something else? What mechanisms do you want to see come together in your board games now that deck building and worker placement has become a mainstay? Now we're moving into a controversial topic. This is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. This is sitting at number 3 on the hotness, and it's moving down now, but it was skyrocketing up that hotness at the end of the weekend and early week because the game plopped onto Target shelves before Kickstarter backers got a hold of it themselves. Now there's a whole lot of background here where the shipping to backers got delayed, but because Target has their own shipping methods, they were able to expedite and get the games onto their shelves without relying on the companies that were backlogged. And so we have this real tension between backers who are very angry. If you go onto the Ares Expedition Board Game Geek page, you're going to see the game is ranked fairly low because a lot of backers just went on there and rated it a 1 just on principle because they felt really betrayed by Stronghold Games for not making sure that they got their copy first. But now the game itself is quite interesting because it's basically Terraforming Mars Lite, where the main mechanic is now this race for the galaxy style of action selection, where I have these action cards and I choose an action on my turn. Everybody gets to do that action, but then I get a bonus for that. And then all with the goal in mind of building up your tableau of cards and then building up the environment of Mars, where there's a little board now of Mars where you are climatizing it and terraforming Mars. So essentially the same game on a lighter and smaller scale. Now the consensus seems to be, and putting all the Target controversy aside, that Terraforming Mars, the original, is the better game. And that while Ares Expedition is a fine game, it's really overshadowed by its big cousin, and there's not really reason to have both of them in your collection. But if you've gotten your copy already, gotten it from Target or what have you, please let me know what your thoughts are on the game down below in the comments. I'd really like to know. Keeping with the theme of Target, we have another Target game. This is Summer Camp by Phil Walker Harding. If you don't love Phil Walker Harding, you are missing out. Sushi Go, Barren Park, Gizmos, one of my personal favorites, Emotep. And Phil Walker Harding, he just has this real, whoa, Phil Walker Harding, he just has this great ability to plop down these really awesome family weight games that still engage the gamer brain. And summer camp is coming at this beautiful time, right in time for the heat of summer, where we can get around a campfire, go back to the cabin, and play some summer camp. So what has this game got going on? So basically, it's a deck building game about moving up tracks. And so in a game, you're gonna pick 3 kind of activities for your summer camp. So maybe it's canoeing and foraging and whatever. I don't know exactly what they are, but just different summer camp activities that a scouts troop will kind of do. And you basically put these badges from these different decks of cards on the end of these tracks. And then you have each track kind of dedicated to a type of activity. And then you are just playing cards from your hand to gain new cards into your hand of the various types. And then as you play those cards of the various types, they're going to have movement points on them. And if a card has movement points, it'll correspond to a certain track, and you will move one of your meeples up that track. And as you get to certain spaces on the track, you activate special abilities, and it's a race up all 3 tracks. So I really like the dimension of deck building and trying to get cards into your hand that will allow you to move up these tracks, while at the same time giving you little special abilities and wrinkles in how you're going to do that. I think this is just a very simple family weight game that we're getting here. And my concern is that it might be a little too simple, like it might be a little too target friendly. Like someone said, hey, Phil, make a game for Target. And he kind of picked the lowest common denominator and went for it. And so I don't know if this is going to have that thing that his games usually have, where it can appeal to a wide range of audience. It looks like it might outstay its welcome after a couple of plays. But again, I don't want to judge it before I play it. So if you're getting your hands on it, let me know what you're thinking about summer camp down below. And I myself am pretty tempted to check it out too, because it does look neat. So what about you in this Target stuff? Are you a fan of hobby board games making their way into Target at lower price points? And are you happy with the kind of games that we are seeing at Target? And what are your thoughts on the controversy about Kickstarter backers not getting their games before Target did? Just let me know your thoughts about Target and the hobby down below in the comments. So party people, that's it for today. Those were 5 games trending on the hotness on Board Game Geek. I hope that you saw something that you are interested in and that you can now go down a little rabbit hole checking out for yourself. Again, I'm sorry this video was a little late this week. I hope to be back on track next week, where you'll be able to see my hotness video on Tuesday morning, if not late Monday night. But until next time, party people, have the best day.